request. Could you tell us of like an interesting or funny moment that happened while you were in the booth?
In the booth? Sure. Let's see. You might have heard this one. Wolf's Rain. I usually try to show up kind of early so I can go through, when you dub anime stuff specifically, and some video games as well. Well, even original. I guess when you dub, a lot of times you don't get the script ahead of time. You know, if the animation stuff or games, you walk in and the script is right there, and the director is basically the one that tells you, this is what's happening, this is where you're going, and whatever, okay, who you're playing. Here's your voice or whatever. Unless you've been playing the character for a long time, you don't really know what you're doing until you show up, and then you have the script right there. So I usually try to show up a little bit early, you know, 10 or 15 minutes early, so I can kind of go through the script and figure out who the character is and kind of like get it in my head, you know, if I'm not familiar with it. And so, Wolf's Rain, this was like maybe the third or fourth thing that I did dubbing-wise, and so I just wanted to do it right, and so I usually try to show up early. This one day, I did not show up early. And so I showed up like right on time. I rushed there, I didn't eat breakfast, so I was hungry, and my stomach was growling the entire time. Which is embarrassing. You all know, you've been there. You know, like in school, it's like, you're sitting there, it's all quiet, your stomach's like, you know, and you just sit there, you're like, you start shuffling your papers and kicking things up, so I'm just shuffling my papers. So, you know, I was trying to cover it. There wasn't, like, I couldn't really do all that. So what you can do, and I've learned from just dubbing, because you can hear everything, is I would just drink, like, a ton of water, you know, in between. So it shuts it up, you know, it's like, it's about to, it's like, and then just like, you know, like you drown it or something. And so I do that, and I've been fighting it off, you know, and I've been doing pretty good, so they hadn't really been hearing the growling, because it'd be totally embarrassing. And then there's one moment, you know, in between takes, whatever, right before the beats or right after, my stomach decides it's going to growl, and it's already too late because we're ready to roll, and my stomach goes, and I'm like, wait a minute, that sounded like I squeezed a fart out in my stomach. I mean, it was like, you know, it like lifted up at the end, you know, like I was trying to hold it in. And I was like, it would have been much better if it was just a regular, like, growl or something. But no, the fart noise in my stomach was a little, it was like, I'm gonna get you now for drowning me. And I could feel them looking at me, you know, through the glass. And I'm like, I gotta say something. I look over and they're just like, like, I swear, I did not fart in here. I know it sounded like a fart, you know, the curl and all that, but I did not fart. And they're like, you can smell, you can come in here and smell. So, there you go. Everybody farts, I don't know why it's so embarrassing. It's just that it smells so bad. But the stomach growl thing, have you guys had your stomach growl like that before? Yeah, it's like, what the hell? Alright.
Alright, I only have one question, but first I want to say I love you. Like, all my courage to say that.
That's sweet, thank you. I love all of you guys. Follow me on Twitter. Twitter.com/Jonny Yong Bosch. I tweet all the time about stupid stuff.
Well, you were telling me about your drummer had waffles or something.
The weirdest line?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that's tough because I do anime stuff. And a lot of what we say is weird. Especially when they translate it directly and it's like backwards. Like Japanese or whatever, or Spanish. It's like, oh, like, wait a minute, who talks like this? So, that's a tough one. Actually, Power Rangers. I went back and I did, how many of you guys watched that 15th anniversary of Overdrive? So I went back for 2 episodes for Overdrive for their 15th anniversary. And, you know, I thought, because they had asked me to come do a couple episodes, and it had been like, what, 12, 13 years. And so I checked out an episode on YouTube of, I don't know what season it was, but it had like a good story. Like, what season was that again? It was like different, you know, it was like different from when I was on the show, you know, I was like, whoa, this is like a serious show now. And I was like, oh, this is good, there's gonna be like real acting. And so I was like, oh, this is gonna be awesome, I can't wait. And I'm like, can I get a script? No, not whatever, you know, I couldn't get a script. So I show up in New Zealand, and then get a script, 2 of them. I'm hardly in the first one. And I show up at the end to save the day, and I'm like, that's my reveal. I don't ride up on a motorcycle or anything, it's just like, it's Adam. But then the script is, you know, it's the same thing as when I left the show. It's a kid's show, it's just the same format. And so I was like, whoa, I'm a better actor than I was then. Not great, but I can, you know, maybe pull off some different things. So I toned it out the way I wanted to play the character like 13 years later or whatever. But then there's one line they wanted me to say, which I never said as a character. The other Rangers might have said it, which was more phenomenal. Yeah. Which is like, I mean, it's maybe not the weirdest thing I've ever said, but it's just kind of a goofy thing to say, especially when I'm fighting somebody and I cut through him with an axe, and he explodes into a ball of fire, and I'm like, more phenomenal. So it was just weird. I was like, do I really have to say that? And they're like, no, you have to say that. Like, all right. I was like, some of the fans might like that anyway. What? It was more of a ability thing to say more phenomenal. Well, excuse me. You guys should start using that. I've decided to like try to use that, you know, in my daily. I threw those quarters in that lady's face. I should have been like, more phenomenal. Would have made everything better. She would have exploded into a ball of fire. You take a dump? What phenomenal? Sorry, I don't know why I said that. That's dumb. It's gross too. Some of you guys just ate. I didn't describe it though. I shouldn't even said that. On your mark, get set, go.
I also have 2 questions. The first question is, what was your most difficult role and why?
My most difficult role? I don't know, because a lot of them, you know, there's more than one. Code Geass was kind of tough in the beginning for me, because like he's the protagonist but the antagonist, you know, so it's kind of a weird thing to be kind of the bad guy. And then when I was playing Zero, it really came to when I was playing Zero, because for me to be like, you know, if I were going to be a bad guy, I probably would internalize it a little bit more, you know, whereas, like I might, like if I was playing a guy, my choice would maybe have been, like, hey, come here, just be a nice guy, and then kill the person. But Zero was more like, I'm going to kill you, you know, it's just like, he's just going to announce it very melodramatically. In fact, that was the direction I was given. And that's the way they played it in the Japanese, and so it's like I understood why they wanted it that way, and I was like, okay, it was just kind of weird for me to just naturally kind of be really big and bold as a bad guy. And then after a few episodes, I was like, okay, I can see why. And then when I watched it, it just kind of works. And then the second season, it took a slightly different turn, which was really kind of more where I wanted to play it, and it was fun. But the end of the first, do you guys remember the end of the first season? Man, holy cow, that was good. I mean, they had me on that. I was like, dude, what? Yeah. And then the end of the whole season? Yeah, it's good. You had another question.
My second question is actually about the second season of Is how did you feel when...
Don't ruin it! You're not about to spoil it, are you?
Spoiler alert! And you saw how it started and you saw where things were going.
How did I feel?
Yes.
Oh, I was loving it. I was loving where it was going, you know? And he was just kind of like falling apart and becoming crazier. Blew up on Rolo and all that stuff, you know? It's like, dude, this is gonna get crazy. And it did. You know what, guys? I don't have a lot of time in this panel, apparently. I think I'm almost done, huh?
We still have 20 minutes!
How many questions we got? What's in here next? Opening ceremony. Oh, well.
Screw that. You're more important.
All hail the Bosch.
Oh, man.
Let's see.
So I don't think I'm going to get through all your questions, unfortunately.
Oh, look at me.
They should open
Okay.
which is always
Alright, so let's just go through some really fast ones if you can make them faster.
Did you play any pranks on the set of Power Rangers?
Yes. Mostly Jason Frank did. But I egged him on.
Enabler!
I'll tell you one that he did to me. We were in Australia and we were in this van and we were driving a set. It's like a desert, you know. We're going pretty fast because we were trying to get there. And a lady was driving, all the Rangers were in the back. And I just watched some movie and I can't remember what movie it was, but you know, the guy like climbed out of the car or whatever. I was like, dude, I want to climb out of this van and climb onto the roof and then climb back in on the other side. And then Jason Frank was like, okay, do it. Do it. And we're going pretty fast. I was like, I'll do it. And he's like, you won't do it. You know, you won't. And then so of course, being who I am, I climbed out the window and I jumped onto the roof. I was like hanging on as they're driving. And then as I was trying to get back in, Jason rolls up the window.